Hi, everyone. Welcome. Thank you for joining me, and thank you, chat managers, for your help. I appreciate it. It seems like there is a confusion. That's not like Andre. He would be here already. He didn't tell me the date. I thought he said he met today. So let's see what happens. Otherwise, it may be next week. And I also forgot that they are coming to help me today. I wouldn't be able to to be for the stream. I wouldn't be able to do more than 30 or 40 minutes. So if Andre doesn't come in today, I believe it's probably next week, but I thought he meant today because he said this Friday. He didn't give me a date. In any event, that's okay. That's the way it was supposed to be. But I'm sure there is some kind of miscommunication somewhere there. How many of you have? I downloaded. Wait a minute. I want to start over? Did I say thanks to everyone for joining me, and thank you, chat managers, for your help? I appreciate it. I want to make sure I say that because you guys are indispensable, and also I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the subscribers. I appreciate your support. In any event, like I was talking about yesterday. If you want to download the report, the January 6th report, onto your computer, I did it this morning, but I haven't had a chance to go over it. No, I opened it. That was it. I didn't read it yet, but I want to go chapter by chapter. Hi, Betsy Warren, and give you my intuitive impressions if needs be. In any event, did you guys, you know what shocked me last night? That young lady, Hutchinson, I don't remember her name. She went to her father asking for help. I just couldn't believe when I heard that last night on MSNBC. I don't know how many of you heard about her. She went to ask her father for help, and he didn't help her because he's a MAGA. He's a Trump fanatic. The guy would not help his 23, 24. How old is she? 25, somewhere around there. Anybody knows how old Hutchinson is? In any event, I found it so disgusting to choose a conman and a thief like Trump over your daughter. I just couldn't. Oh, thank you very much, Patricia Fandino. She's 26 years old. Can you imagine? Oh my God. Thank you, Electra Storm. This is so, I just couldn't believe when I heard that last night. And the guy he lives in Jersey, which means he knows about Trump. And still, he didn't help his daughter, even if, regardless, that's your daughter. You know, that guy. Anyway, let's move on. The next reference is Trump is raging this morning, according to. It seems like Andre is here. There he is.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thank you. I'm sorry, I just brought you in and we are on. So. Well, you look ready anyway. You look ready to go. One thing I have to say, we may not be able to go longer than 35, 40 minutes because people are coming to help me here. I forgot that. Otherwise, I would have told you let's do it next Friday if you were available. In any event, we were talking about that young lady who testified against Trump. Well, she didn't testify against Trump. She did. They questioned her live on TV. Her name is Hutchinson. What is her first name? Did you hear about what her father did to her? She went because she didn't have. She's 26 years old. She's broke.
Yeah.
She didn't have money to defend herself, so she went to her dad to ask for help. Can you believe this? He turned her down. How can a father do this? And for a conman like Trump, and the guy lives in Jersey, so he knows everything about Trump. I just couldn't believe it. I had to brought it up again while you're here.
Yeah,
It's I thought it was sick. I don't know. I'm sure you feel the same way. In any event, yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, just to say that I know I don't have a birth
No,
time
there's.
for her, but I have a birthday, and I
Oh, you
noticed in
do.
her chart what you would expect. There's a tremendous amount of pressure, but
Oh, yeah.
this is the thing with an astrology chart. Just because there's pressure
Right.
doesn't mean you should then give in to criminality. You know, you
Oh,
can
right.
always say, "I'm not going this way." So they put a lot of pressure on her because the Republican Party, has a lot of these people that Trump came in and yeah, he's bad and so on. They want to stay with the party. So her father is probably
He's a
a
MAGA. He's a fan.
MAGA.
He's a Trump
Yeah,
fan.
yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
what I was saying was, regardless, that's your child. But anyway,
Oh, of course. Yeah, no question. I mean, it's unbelievable that, and especially now, it's such an embarrassment to hear you turned her down and she's
I
more
would
famous than you. So,
exactly. He's on TV now.
yeah, I know.
And living in Jersey, it's right next to New York. The media, I'm sure this morning he has reporters standing in front of his house. That's for sure.
Yeah,
In any event,
it's crazy. It's crazy.
yeah,
When you consider just what Trump was up to and how clownish and ham-handed and so obviously criminal it is, and that you'd want to be on the side of that. I
exactly.
don't get it. I don't get it.
I
I don't
I
get
feel
it.
the same way.
Yeah.
I don't get it either.
Mm.
The next thing I wanted to, you can give me how you feel about it. There are three people here who've been at least I've been talking about all of them for the past few weeks. But this morning, it feels like to me, Trump is worse than ever. I mean, mentally and emotionally
Mhm.
after the report. Because
Yeah.
why am I feeling panic? Do you know, or do you have
Yeah.
does the
Yeah.
chart say something? That's what I'm getting now. I've never gotten him panicking before.
Well, I mean, if you look at, so you can look at this or assess it in two ways. One is
Yeah.
that, and by the way, I sometimes wonder, how does this stuff get out so quickly? Because these stories filter out of
Oh, yeah.
Mar-a-Lago and they'll say he's panicked, he's screaming, he's yelling. But I know from doing a lot of astrology over many decades that if you have high pressure planets,
Okay.
it causes, you get uncomfortable. And then if you, through your actions, you've created a scene where those planets match up with, as an example, major law breaking, well, then, yeah,
Right.
because you'd be thinking, next thing you know, they're going to knock on the door. They're not just going to break in and take the records. They're going to take me away.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for sure. For sure. I
But
can see that 100%.
yeah, this morning, well, since last night, and I read some things that they reposted what he said on Truth Social, but since last night, there is a sense of desperation. You know, he knows things are not heading in the right direction,
Mhm.
and he cannot change them, and so he's raging, and there's it's like desperation. He doesn't know what to do. Now, let me ask you this. Have you ever, this is something I'm just getting as I'm talking about him. Have you ever gotten this guy maybe suicidal?
Suicidal?
Yeah.
No, that I have not. But I mean, I suppose it's possible. But what I get with him is just rage, aggression, determination to force his vision on everyone else, no matter what. That's as far as I've gotten. I mean, it's
No,
possible. I will tell you this,
it's
though. I'll tell you this, that the other thing about his chart pattern is there's a pretty serious health threat that is constantly lurking around. And I know he has good genetics from his father lived a long time,
right.
but his father did get eventually a form of dementia,
Dementia.
very advanced dementia.
Yeah.
And I've often felt that Trump and Giuliani both, I think that in the last 10, 15 years, their mental capacity has gone
Oh, well,
down
yeah.
because I
Giuliani worse
sometimes,
than Trump.
like, has it ever hit you that, think back to Trump when he was, say, 20 years ago, he was already a vulgar, man and so
No, he
forth.
was
But
always vulgar.
he was vulgar. But I have this feeling that he would have thought, seeing himself today, would have thought, what are you doing? Are you crazy? Do you think that you can do this and get away with it? This is too much. You're going too deep into something that
Yeah.
can never work. So my feeling is that there's a decline there. And on top of the way he treats his body, it's
Oh,
like a
yeah.
bomb waiting to blow. Something could go wrong at any moment from the stress and from the way he lives his life and from everything. So
Oh, definitely. But I've never get that sense before. It may be, when people, let's say, for example, I wouldn't want to go to jail.
yeah,
And if I find myself in a situation where I have to go to jail, mostly at my age, I would possibly contemplate or probably come to mind, like maybe
yes,
I'm better off dead. I wonder if that's what I am getting because I have never get that sense from him before. And the January 6th report, given the way, I mean, people read it for him and they tell, they give him report, what's in there. And he has basically been blamed or been, well, they said that's his fault.
yeah, it is. It is his fault.
And
It is his fault.
yeah. And right now, with all the evidence that they have in there, I mean, it's his own people, basically, their testimony, everything points to him. And then he has that lady, Fannie Willis, in
Yes,
Georgia.
exactly.
She's a bulldog.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
I'm getting desperation. And all of a sudden, I am hearing suicidal. So it's possibly because he doesn't see a way out. And, so he's weighing all his options and also, something else. From what I understand, onset dementia, even if, there are certain things you would not even entertain before you start, the disease begin to set in, they become normal because from what I understand, people with onset dementia, they can start raging for no reason. Any little thing can trigger them. Thank you very much, Chris Blackini, for your generosity and the super chat. We appreciate it. Yeah. So, but anyway, I was kind of surprised when I saw it. I was wondering whether I should have said it or not, but
well,
this is,
I mean, you probably are picking up, at minimum, you're probably picking up a really, really deeply, depressed, negative state, because
oh,
what
yeah.
else could it be? He's trying different things. They're not really working. I mean, it
No.
almost seems to me like the only thing he's left with is if he thinks that he can get his supporters to create violence in some way to support him. But now his supporters are also looking at all the law
Other
enforcement,
people.
and people are being put in jail right and left. So they're probably thinking, well, I don't know, do I really want to do this? I mean,
They know
so
he's not worth it.
no, so it's a real catch-22, because what do you do? Nothing is
Yeah.
working anymore, so yeah.
But anyway, yeah, that's how I am getting it just now. I don't know if he had other people, because I'm sure today he's talking to a whole bunch of people, his sycophants. They're not going to step out there for him,
Yeah,
and the
right.
news is not good. They're probably telling him, things are going to be rough, you
Yeah.
know. That's possibly why I am getting that, but it's going to be interesting to see how this thing unfolds.
Well,
The next person I feel we have to please tell me how you feel about him. But why do I feel this guy is going to Elon Musk? Why do I feel this guy is going to end up worse than? I'm trying to remember his name. Howard Hughes. Do you remember
oh,
Howard Hughes?
I do remember how it
How he
was. Yes,
ended?
yes, yes, I do
Is it
remember.
me or Elon Musk is heading in that same direction? Because this morning, uh, I was on Twitter. Somebody pointed out to me, and this guy has been insulting his shareholders, his investors, not shareholders, well, shareholders as well, but his investors. And it seems like to me he's losing it too. Have you seen that in his chart?
Yeah, well, the thing about his chart is that he's got this, the way the planets are distributed, he's got this cluster of planets that for the next 5 years there is constant pressure changing from one planet to another, and even right now, prior to that,
Yeah.
he now. So when you see that, and part of it is that the astrology doesn't just by looking at the chart tell you directly. You have to look at the way the person is using it.
Yeah.
And my sense is that this guy has through too big an ego, he got a lot of success through car innovation and this kind of thing, and then he stepped into a lane which is also in his chart. This is the Gemini energy,
Okay.
which takes you into communications.
Right.
And Twitter is a Gemini organization, right? So he goes in there, but it's not really his lane. He's not really good at this, but because he's got a big head, he thinks he is.
Yeah.
And the other thing is he also thinks he's good at, mixing with the people, connecting with people. He's not. He has this, put the blinders on and does really strange things that show he's not well connected. So this is lethal for being on Twitter, because Twitter depends on really good politics. There are people on both sides arguing. So it doesn't surprise me one bit. Now he's damaged his business too. And so he's going to, at minimum, he has a lot of work to do for the next number of years if he wants to return to a good place in business. But I'm suspecting he probably won't, because
that's what I was going to ask you.
Yeah, like when you have a big head like this, this is the problem with letting the energy get up into your head and letting it blow up, becoming this big ego personality. This always plays against you in the longer term. And so now he's got and so my feeling is he's likely going to downtrend, over the next
That's what I feel.
Years. Yeah. Yeah.
That's what I said, because I know you looked at you have looked at his chart, right?
Just his day chart, because there's no time available for him, but he has a lot of planets in the cardinal mutable signs. And the next 5 years, that's where Saturn cruises through, putting pressure. Saturn is a planet that always comes in and says to you, nope, doesn't work. You didn't up all your numbers. And
right. Somebody asked an interesting
it's
question.
What's moving into Trump. Same thing. Really hard.
Yeah. Somebody asked the question. Teresa Campbell says, did Elon do it for Trump? I don't think so. I mean, the people, the 1% of the 1%, they are his buddies. They were all super wealthy. I feel there was communication there, to on the lead, to on the libs. You know what I mean? But I don't feel he did it. I don't know what you think, but
not for Trump. I think he's doing it for himself. I think with Elon Musk, if I'm trying to be funny here, but I think he has, you could call it like billionaire's disease.
Right.
He has too much power, and these guys get it into their head. Well, look how smart I am, and I really should be influencing the world more. And things like I've read, I don't know if it's true, that he's fathered many children because he has this idea that he needs to, spread his genes throughout the planet. So many crazy stuff.
Wait a minute. Elon's time of birth, I will send it to you.
You have it?
Yes. I will send it to you, because I was going to figure out, how you can compute somebody's time of birth. If you know approximately when they were born, they give you, about as many major events that took place in there.
Okay. Yeah. Sure.
But somebody told me they sent, in fact, somebody, I don't remember who, the person is probably in the chat that told me his time of birth, but I will share it with you. Sure. I was looking at, this is the first time I've ever had, I'm going to ask someone, like yourself, this question, because since I'm not an expert in astrology as you are, I'm a beginner. In any event, given that time, I was looking at this guy, eighth house. Oh my God.
The which?
His eighth house, other people's money.
Okay. Yeah, other people's money. Are you talking about Elon Musk now or Trump?
Yeah, no, we're still talking about Elon Musk.
Okay.
I was shocked. And also, let me ask you this. The reason why I'm pointing that out is I want to ask you, when you have a well aspected eighth house, everything, the money comes to you. That's good luck, right? That doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily mean you are good at anything to do the things that Elon is doing. Did that make the sense? Let's say, for example, you're not a genius. It's simply that you're lucky. Everything you touch turns into gold. But the energy can change as progression takes place. Does that make sense?
Well, the eighth house is it's the axis of money. Like other people's money is the eighth, your money is
Yeah.
the second. So all the money, property, liquidity, it goes through there. So
Yeah.
if you have a strong eighth house, then, for example, let's say that it turns out you're on the more honest side of the ledger, you're a more
Yeah.
honest person, then you could be a great investor, a great banker. Maybe you're in the insurance business. You
Right.
could even be in, by the way, you could even be in the funeral business because that's
Yeah.
the eighth house, which is the house of death. There are
Right.
many things you can do, including another one, the waste disposal business. That's another eighth house thing,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
But all of that, that's assuming you're part of the, honest or mostly honest part of life. But if you drift to the negative, more criminal side,
Yeah.
that's a place where you would find the mafia as well, for example, because it's
Right.
that underbelly, right?
All that
And also
nefarious
the
stuff.
idea that these scammers, a lot of these people like Trump has a really powerful connection to the eighth house because he's
Yeah.
got Jupiter, Neptune ruling that. So then you can be very good at getting people's money, taking it
Yep.
away. But
Yep.
you can see that there's cheating going on in the case of Trump, or lying and making up things. In the case
Yeah.
of Musk, I think with Musk it has more to do with, if you think of the eighth house, it would be that he created a really good paradigm in business so that people were in a way over investing in Tesla because Tesla was valued way really high compared
Yep.
to its actual value. But now they're looking and thinking, this guy seems like he's nuts. So they're selling the stock or they're not buying the cars, and
Yep.
that is dropping, right? So to me, a lot of this is the force of momentum. Once you
Right.
get momentum going in a certain direction,
Oh
be
yeah.
careful that it doesn't go against you because it'll keep
Right.
moving, right?
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah,
But the
exactly.
reason why I ask you that is because a lot of people equate making money and being a genius, and it's proving that's not true.
No, that's of course that's not true.
You know what I mean, right?
Yeah, but
And that's what I wanted to convey to our friends, to our listeners,
it's true.
because
It's true. Someone was saying that I heard someone say that uh, Ford, the inventor of cars
yeah.
back in the 20th century, he was a genius at that. He
Hmm.
knew how to, he developed the assembly line, a total genius. But then
Yeah.
apparently he started dabbling in politics, and when he went to Capitol Hill, people were shocked at how uninformed and ignorant he was because he got out of his lane, right? So you can be a genius here and be completely out of whack somewhere
Right.
else,
But
that's the thing.
the point I'm trying to make by asking you that question, because I've never, spoke to an astrologer about Elon, as far as the way he makes his money. And I've said on my stream that I think this guy is just lucky because of his eighth house, not that he knows or good at anything else. You see what I'm saying? So he took advantage, because he didn't invent electricity, he didn't invent electrical motors, all those things that are, he has opportunity to make money. So he invested and more money came in, you
Yeah,
know.
that's true. That's true. Although, I mean, to be fair, you have to give him credit around being pretty good at this. He also was involved in PayPal with that guy Peter
Oh
Thiel.
yeah.
So,
Those
these are people that they're high flying, strong businessmen. They do know how the system works.
they
Musk,
know how the system works. You know
yeah.
what? I'm sorry. I mean, you have a point,
Hmm.
but I don't want to give him any credit at all. I think he's such a scoundrel.
Well, he is a
I
scoundrel. That's true. That's also true. So we're in agreement. We're in
you
agreement on
know
that. Yeah, that's true.
And if you look at how the behavior he's exhibiting right now with his investors, I don't know. I'm sure a lot of people in the chat read his Twitter thread. It's like, I am better and I know better than everyone else. You don't know anything.
Yeah.
With his investors.
It's true.
You know
It's
what I
true.
mean?
Yeah,
And that's
that's
the way
true.
he treats everyone else.
Yeah,
But that's what I wanted to make sure that, like I said, I never had an opportunity to ask someone like yourself that question because, it's that's why I watch I started watching your channel because the way you explain things, and it helps me memorize,
yeah.
so when you read something by yourself, but when you hear it from someone else, it sticks.
Yeah,
But yeah,
the thing is with astrology, though, it's really critical, even though it seems like it's upside down, is you look at what someone is doing, get the in a way what you do, you're tuning in psychically, and you kind of go, well,
right,
what is this guy doing? And you just get this feeling, this guy's out of whack. Why is he doing the things he's doing? Then you read the chart through that because you start to realize he's playing to the low side of the planets. He's doing
true,
things. So then he's going to get problematic results because
yes,
we live in society. We don't live in caves. So everything we
right,
do depends on other people. And so if you're cheating people, diminishing people and so forth, that's going to work against you every time.
yeah,
If you give it enough, I mean, even a guy like Trump, he's got a group of people that like him, but he's got an even bigger group that can't stand him and are trying to
exactly.
get
And he
rid of him.
hasn't
So
realized that yet.
yeah,
But
exactly.
one more thing about Elon, uh, I don't feel he's going to recover. I feel you said he may put, he may have to put some effort into recovery. Even if he does, I don't know. Maybe you see something, and you don't have the exact time. I have to. I will. And about around 4 o'clock today or 5 o'clock, I will send you his time of birth
Oh, I look
because
forward
after
to it.
this, I have to rush to let people in the place. But
You can tell, by the way,
mhm,
with something like this, the astrology, because you know the person's information, even if it's just a day, you get to watch because a guy like this is in the news pretty
right,
much, and he wants to be in the news. That's part of it, but you're going to hear about him. So you get to watch when he gets a cycle of an important planet. What is he doing with it? And by looking at
yeah,
what he's doing, you can then make an educated guess. Because if, for example, he gets Saturn pressure and you see him applying self-discipline to himself, you see
yeah.
him get his senses back, then you think, okay, I think he's on the right track. But if you see him going the other way, then you realize, no, he's going down. It's going to
I got
continue
you.
spiraling, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody asked you a question. I think this is interesting. Dennis Thomas is asking, how does Nikola Tesla feels about Musk using his name to
Yeah.
make calls in solar energy? The minute I read your stuff, not that he cares very much, but it may be his relatives. They think Elon is a joke. The energy I was getting, because, once we cross, we don't care anymore. Names and other stuff don't, but his relatives, I feel, think Elon is a joke and a scoundrel. That's what I feel. Because please let me know if I'm wrong, Andre. But we are all one in spirit, although Tesla is on the other side. But I can confuse his energy with the relatives, the people he still has living. You know what I mean? We are all connected. So,
Yes.
but that's what I'm getting. I simply wanted to explain how I got that. I don't want people to
Right.
misunderstand me.
I agree. I agree totally. I mean, thing is that if you're looking at the advances of humanity, you often see people that do something good while being extremely flawed and even bad, like crazy people. Like look at Edison. He was a great inventor.
Yeah,
So in some measure, at least, it's why the room has a light because he started that and
exactly.
people turn it on. But he would do really bad things. Like he was torturing elephants to make points.
Really?
Yeah, he wanted to, he was the defender of direct current, I believe. Like there was an argument between alternating current and direct current. And
Yes.
he wanted to make a show of this, electrocuted an elephant in a video to prove a point. And you're thinking, what are you, stupid? Why would you
I
do
didn't know
something like
about
that?
that.
It's brutal. It's heartless. And I mean, back in the day, there was less objection to something like that. I
Peter
mean,
would definitely go after him today.
you couldn't do that, right? But it just sort of tells you, wow, like these people, they get so full of their own ideas
Yep.
that they do terrible things. But at the same time, he's produced,
Oh yeah.
something interesting. And Tesla, the question of saying, well, imagine that Tesla is in the other dimension looking down. Tesla would say, well, this guy seems strange, but then he might think, yeah, I think it's pretty cool that there are these electric cars, that,
Right.
that are racing around.
Oh my God.
Because electric cars are pretty interesting. They're really quiet and
Oh
feel
yeah.
really solid and so forth. So
But they
both
had them
things are happening.
before the early 1900s, though. I mean,
True. It's true. Yeah.
Anyway, somebody said something interesting here. I think it is.
Yeah, there you go.
Rise
His
when it
father-
says he has 10 kids. I didn't know that.
Oh, at least that's what I've read, that this is behind this theory that a lot of these, people with billionaire disease get, because they reach a high point in life. They start thinking, well, I should be the one fathering the entire human race, because then everybody would be as smart as me.
Exactly. Yeah. Right.
Crazy.
Let's see. Will we ever defeat super wealthy? That's an interesting question. Electrostorm says, will we ever defeat super wealthy, or we are doomed to be crushed by them with unaffordable housing, I'm sorry, low pay and expensive healthcare. I've mentioned this a couple of times. Please let me know what you think about that energy as well. I don't feel they're gonna be able to crush us. If anything, what I feel, if the super wealthy are not careful, they may have an uprising on their hands. But please let me know what you feel.
Yeah, I think this in astrology, you see these Jupiter-Saturn conjunctions that happen every 20 years, and you get some alterations, in the human consciousness. And my feeling is that a lot of this goes back to the one in 1980, the Reaganism. When Reagan came in, he brought in a kind of what's in it for me, and people's taxes were cut, and then immediately you started getting inequality, and it's been building. But I think the conjunction that happened in 2020 in Aquarius has the feel of the people, and the return to more equality, so that laws can get passed that equalize things. Because right now it's too far apart, and when you have too much inequality, you get problems like this, where people like Elon Musk, show up and they start thinking crazy things, basically.
Oh yeah. Danielle Aurora says Elon Musk does tend to take credit for other people's work, like Thomas Edison did. I didn't know Thomas Edison did that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
But I'm not an expert in Thomas Edison. But oh my God, Elon is like, it feels like to me, he thrives on that stuff. But somebody called him out on Twitter not too long ago, about that.
Yeah, I mean, isn't it like it's a crazy thing where when you express something wonderful that comes through you, if you don't give credit to the universe, to God, to the greater spirit, then it goes to your head. And like, give you an example of another person who in his time was letting it go to his head is Steve Jobs. He created a lot of amazing technology, but he was also known for stealing other people's ideas. And
I didn't know that.
Because he was doing so well, you start to think, oh, this is me. I'm amazing. And
I deserve it. You don't.
Yeah, exactly. So it's super important to be in society and relate to everyone, because you're relating to the entire universe, rather than thinking of yourself as the lone purveyor.
And there is no need. The guy had enough, oh my God, credit to his name. Why soil it? You know what I mean? It's stupid.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay. I'm not quite sure. Patricia Fandino is saying that Sterling Psychic Medium said to speak to the entity saying it has to leave. I would add to say only the Christ energy is welcome here. I'm not quite sure. Pat?
Speak to the entity? You mean any? I'm assuming entities. Yeah, that if something enters anybody and it's inclining, telling you to do something evil, awful.
Oh, sorry, Patricia, you were way ahead of me. I'm still stuck on Elon. And Trump raging, thinking of suicide today.
We're still on that.
Joel Tilson says, I wanted to talk about Putin, but I don't think we'll have a chance because in a few more minutes, I'm going to have to go. Joel Jason said lithium will be replaced with cheaper material. Oh, yes, in due time. I don't know. Please let us know what you think. But I think, yeah, the battery thing is they're going to have better
Yeah,
batteries.
that's one of the things around Aquarius energy, because the Jupiter Saturn conjunction was in Aquarius in 2020, but now Pluto is entering Aquarius a little bit in 23, a little more in 24, and finally completely in 25. So then it's in Aquarius for about 13, 14, 15 years. That's a period where science and advancements can really progress, although the danger can be that corporations become too powerful, groups of people can become too powerful. But even so, science there could really advance. And it's super important because if it doesn't advance quickly enough, it'll be really hard to push back on the climate change,
Exactly.
the constant decline in that particular area. Yeah.
I don't know if you heard about this gentleman. He's from New York.
Yes.
And he lied about his. Okay, I think he's done. I don't see how he's going to stay in Congress. I don't know if you had an opportunity to.
I haven't looked at him deeply, but because I haven't even looked for his time or anything. But I can tell you just from noticing what he did and what's come out, it's like if you're in a casino and someone says, "Okay, bet. Do you think he's going up or down?" I'm betting down. Yeah, for sure, because it's too.
The guy is a complete fraud. If you feedback for a couple of things, they may give you a chance.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy's a complete fraud. I don't see how he's going to overcome this. Well, Republicans these days, they don't care, but it's a greater society. In New York? Forget it. He's probably reminding a whole bunch of people already of Trump. Just like Trump, they have to cheat at everything in order for them to get anywhere.
Exactly, and if he did enough where he actually broke laws, guaranteed he's going to attract law enforcement, and then he can lose his seat once
he already has. I forgot about that. You're right. Latisha James is already on his case. Oh my God! All right, friends. Unfortunately, I have to go because I forgot. They were gonna, at the usual, they come helping me. And I want to say thank you to Andre. I really appreciate you coming. We got to do this again because we have a couple more people we have to talk about. So don't go away yet, Andre. Give me 1 minute. Okay, friends. So I will see you. Oh, tomorrow is Christmas Eve. Okay, I'll probably come tomorrow for a little while, maybe. But I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas if I don't see you. Till next week, mostly.
Bye, everyone.
Okay, Andre, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you again soon. Hang on 1 second, Andre. All right.